present my presentation. So thank you for nice introduction. So I guess the next slide maybe is not necessarily valid anymore, but let's take a look. Just wanted to briefly tell you who am I. If you don't know me yet, as you heard, I'm not only QA, but I'm also, I used to be a project manager, as Scrum Master. Now I'm test lead. I also am IT trainer. And I wanted to a bit share with you what I do after work. Apart from all walks with my dog, Franek, I'm also a co-owner of brand Fun with Bugs. And together with Karolina Pawłowska, we have written a book. Sadly, it's in Polish. It will be in English soon. The book is about basic information on testing. And it's a nice walk through how to start the journey with testing. So, and together we build the brand Fun with Bugs. So if you want to hear some podcasts or look at the Facebook page, please feel free. But today I wanted to bring you some knowledge, and actually I would like to tell you more what I'm doing currently at work, what I did, and I hope I will be able to inspire someone or give you some nice ideas. What can you do or how you can improve your daily base life at work? So let's start. Let's make a basic statement as always. What I wanted to say, generally, who is involved in the quality in building standards and building the communication. I put some notes here like QA lead, QA team, dev teams, of course, IT department, and the whole organization. What I wanted to highlight here, I wanted to say that everyone is responsible for the quality. We know that, but all you know, we have to repeat it quite often. And we are just expert when it comes to quality. And yes, QA lead is the person who can lead the whole change when it comes to standards, when it comes to community, but every of you can be a part of it. And let's start. I wanted to tell you how to start actually, how to start every change, how to start changing those standards or even introduction standards, because sometimes you join the company and there is nothing. And I will tell you about that in a second. So my recommendation is always to start the change with an observation, with asking questions, with gathering as much as you can knowledge about the background, about everything what you need to know. How you can achieve that, of course, having some kind of one-to-ones meetings with your team, with other people, with Scrum Masters, with developers, with engineering youth, everyone who think might have valid input. Also to attend some meetings. You can attend to daily meetings, or you can go to some kind of plannings, big plannings, small plannings, up to you. If you feel that you can bring some knowledge from this meeting and it might be helpful for you to understand what's going on, go for it. And I would also recommend this to find some allies. So how we can do that? It's my favorite technique, and it's not because I think it's nice to have it, but also it's proven by science. And many people, they do that. If you really like Simon Sinek, he will tell you about this as well. So what do I mean by finding allies? If you have a brilliant idea and you would like to start the idea, let's say to start a new standard in your company, you have to find a few people who will be like, it's a great idea. We should do that. I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to review your idea. I'm happy to support you here. And it's not easy. It takes time, and you have to find those few people. I would say a couple of people is enough, but it's crucial, right? if you stand in front of the whole company or whole department or even team, and you are like, guys, we have to do this because of that, and if there is no one who can say, actually, it's a good idea, let's start doing this, or let's try, it won't work. So finding allies is really good technique. And also, I'm a big fan of proof of concepts. So instead of thinking of the best standard we could provide or best approach, and then it takes months or sometimes even years, let's start with something. Let's start with baby steps. And also, if you want to be sure that your idea is reasonable, maybe let's try the idea with one team, for example. I will tell you in a second the example from my work life, how I did that. Just wanted to give you an overview how we can do it. I put some keywords here, how to build community, because by community, I mean everyone within the company, they know something about QAs, they know how we work, why do we do that, why it's important, and we have to speak up, guys, to deliver something, the knowledge to other people. We have to speak up, we have to share knowledge, not only with testers, but maybe with the whole company, show the shift left approach, so testing as soon as possible, even testing the documentation or even testing ideas, right? To be keen on collaboration with developers, product owners, project manager, everyone who wants to be part of the community and who wants to be a person who knows more about testing. And trust me, many people, they are very open. They are happy to understand what's going on, and at some point they will reach out to you guys and they will like, oh, I remember this tester from this team, he or she can have nice ideas, let's ask this person. But also building a community is a bit more, right? Not only going outside, but also taking care of inside stuff, like having yearly goals to skill up, or having nice tools we can learn from how to test better, or have a mentor who can tell us which direction we should go, right? So we should strengthen ourselves, but also the role we are in within the company. And having said that, I also wanted to tell you a few more stuff before I go to the most important, which is case study. I put some examples here, if you like, how we can build the community of QA within the company. And those stuff I'm doing daily basis at work. Let's be honest, we have some QA meetings and everyone is welcome. For example, tomorrow we have a meeting about tool. So the whole IT department is welcome to come and see, because they might use it, right? Why not? They might have questions, or they might have any idea which direction we should take when it comes to quality. We are testers, so we can provide standards, we can teach others, right? We can show them the good practices. Also, as a nice way to have a newsletter, sounds a bit silly maybe, but trust me, sending out newsletter monthly or quarterly, up to you, it's a nice touch, because usually people don't know what we are doing and what's going on, and many people come back to me and they are like, oh, thank you, Natalia, for sharing, we didn't know that. And also I think it's important to have written down description of your role, of the process, because then everyone knows, right? The communication is the key. Sadly, at work and in our private lives, the communication is the key. So we have to speak up. And about speaking up, that's the community. And I wanted to say a bit more about standards. But if you look at those slides and if you listen to me, the standards in the community you can build quite similar, right? Then the most important thing is to understand what is the need, what is the benefit from standard or even the community, right? We need to understand that. We need to understand where we are right now in the company. Maybe we are not ready for something, maybe not yet, maybe next year. And if we feel, okay, it's a good time, we can achieve that, when we can do that. How much time do we need this? How much effort is needed and who should be involved, right? And I would suggest, let's start planning. If you know what is needed, what is the benefit, who is involved, you know how to achieve, let's start doing this baby steps, and then you can improve your plan while you are executing the plan, right? It's a very agile approach, but it works most of the time. And please remember that plans, they like to change a lot. So if today you have a plan for this, tomorrow it might be not valid anymore, right? So open-minded approach and a bit of, let's say, a bit of relaxed approach. Okay, it can happen. Let's wait a bit and let's be patient. But about being patient is quite normal when it comes to be a tester, right? You have to be patient. So it was a small introduction. I know we don't have much time, so I want to dive into some details, into some case study. What I have done as a QA lead, how I introduce standards and build the quality and the community, of course. So my first example is company definition of done. You might have heard about that. And you might think, okay, why I did that? Why not Scrum Masters? So the line is quite thin, because Scrum Master can do that, QA lead can do that, you can do it together. It really depends on the company, right? So the company definition of done is the minimum of definition of done each team should follow. For those who aren't familiar with definition of done, let's say very briefly that is a formal description what piece of code, for example, one user story, one functionality has to fulfill. And then we can say, okay, it's approved. We can say it aims our goals when it comes to the quality. So we did that in one company. We did that. I did that. And how it worked? I think it worked quite well. And to make it easier, we put some categories. As you see, we had 8 categories. So requirements, coding, logging, alerting, documentation, testing, performance, scaling, architecture, and also deployment and pipelining. So in each category, there were a few bullet points, like requirements, they have to be written down, or they have to be written down in Gherkin style, something like that. With testing, we need to know how to test it, and it was tested by QA and also by someone. Like, I'm making stuff up, right? It's up to you. The crucial thing about that is to find this minimum which has to be fulfilled by each teams. Is not easy, but it's doable, right? And then, from my experience, it's not like you come to the company and you say, hello guys, we have made company definition of done. Here you go, there is a confluence, please follow it. It doesn't work like that. It never worked like that, as you know. So I would recommend to have workshops with each team to see where they are in terms of this company definition of them. Maybe they fulfill all points, and that's great. They can add more, right? It's just a minimum. Maybe the team, they are far behind and they need to adjust their process to start fulfilling this definition of them. So workshops, communication again, but it works, right? And I guess it's a nice touch. And if you about company definition, a lot of articles about that. So that's the one thing I have made, and it's quite successful. There's another one, a big one, guys. What I had to do as a QA lead, I had to prepare really strategy. I even put you some info from the Confluence page. So the idea behind this was the company never had a release strategy, never ever. It was like a freestyle. Like we had some common agreement, but it was like someone knows something and never it was written down and nobody followed it quite well. So somehow it ended up on my desk, so I had to do that. And again, what I did, it wasn't easy, let's be honest. First of all, I was trying to understand where is the problem. And the problem was we had many problems on production after releasing stuff because of the lack of communication, because of the lack of quality and stuff like that. So I put here an example of the flow. So I prepared some kind of flow, how the release should look like. Maybe we can have a few types of releases like hotfix or small releases or cross-team releases, up to you guys. But you have to understand the need. And at some point, I prepared the release strategy. And then I went to one team and I said, look, guys, there is an idea how we can approach our releases. Let's first think what the release means and then how we should proceed with that. And one team did that for a month. They gave me some improvements and they said, you know what? At first, it was like a bit overwhelming because it's a new thing, you have to adjust, and let's be honest, people don't like changes, and even though those changes aren't good, at the beginning it's hard to adjust and to say, yay, let's do it. So the team gave me the feedback, let's follow it. And then again, I had to introduce to the whole company, I had to sit down with each team, go through the whole documentation, make a presentation, tell them the goal of it, what is the benefit, what do we want to achieve by that, and how can we do it. So after a few months of work, because it's always a few months of work, sadly, the release strategy was implemented, and it was great success because there was no more problems with releasing stuff. And there was no problem with communication because finally people started to chat like, okay, guys, next week we're going to have a big release and it might influence on you. Please review it. I know it sounds simple, but trust me, sometimes we have to repeat very basic stuff. But it was good. It was really good. And I'm very glad. Then we can go with the new version of this release strategy, right? Because improving is what we like. So why not? That's what we did. Actually, we introduced the first version, gathered the feedback, and introduced the next one. Okay, so I have a few more stuff I wanted to share with you. One is very typical, guys, metrics. Oh, we all want some kind of metrics and we all want to know what's going on with the quality. We, and also the management, let's be honest. I put here some notes, like a proposal of metrics, but it's again, it's up to you guys. It's up to what do you want to achieve. before you start gathering metrics and before you start to presenting those, think about what do you want to show, what do you want to measure. You want to see how many problems we have, or maybe in which areas we have those problems, or maybe our client is not satisfied and we have to show the client the value of QA team. Sometimes it happens. And actually, I can tell you one thing from my previous company. I had very annoying client. It was, trust me, it was annoying because after each release, the client had a problem because found 3 bugs. Trust me, it was 3, max 5 bugs. And every time I had a call like, Natalia, you're a QA lead, please tell us what are you going to do that with this not satisfied quality. And I had many problems. But then I realized maybe they don't understand the scale and maybe they don't understand what we are doing as QAs. So what I did metrics, how many bugs were reported by my team before the release and what was the priority of them and how many problems and how many bugs were reported by client. And you will be surprised. I was surprised. I'm still surprised when I think about that. It wasn't like agile approach, so it wasn't like every 2 weeks release. It was like after a few months we had releases. So when I approached the meeting again to understand why the client is not satisfied, I showed them, guys, look, during the 2 months period of testing, we have found 800 bugs. Here you have the chart. And you, after the release, found 3. So basically, it's not much, right? And trust me, after this, they were like, so we understand why we pay you for the quality. Now it's okay. And after I did the whole presentation with metrics, there was no problem. There was no more calls like, Natalia, tell us why you have so many bugs. So again, understanding the need. And from my experience, having metrics for sake of having metrics is pointless. If we are producing metrics and no one cares about them, there is waste of time. Let's be honest. So always think, what do you want to achieve by those metrics? And I know we don't have much time, but I have 2 more case studies. So the next one is bug template. What does it mean? In one company, we had like 12 teams, and each team has project on Jira, and there was a free lifestyle again. So reporting bugs was easy if you worked for one team because the template was always the same, right? But if you wanted to report the bug to a different team, that was not easy because the template was different. Those fields were in different places. There were some fields we didn't know about them. So at some point we decided, okay, it's a bit messy. We need to give people to everyone, because everyone can report a bug, not only testers. We need to give them a nice template, a nice overview, what information we want to gather. So what we did, I sat down as a QA lead. I've prepared a proposal. Then I went through the proposal with one of my tester. We shaped it up. Then we showed the whole QA team. We agreed on it. I can show you the piece of it because it was a long list. We prepared some kind of Confluence page with the summary, like what is the backend template, why do we need it, what is the benefit, etc. And then each field with the description. If it's a mandatory field and why do we need this and stuff like that. And then again, I approached each team and I said, look, guys, we are going to play with Jira. this is the core. It's a bug template. You have to have the same order from the beginning, but if you need some extra fields, we can add them below. So each team had to tell, okay, we like it, but please add, for example, this new field because we use it. No problem at all. And after that, again, it's a small change. It's not very big and not very impressive maybe, but it helped a lot everyone. And also it helped when sometimes we have to move one bug from one project to another. We didn't lose any information, right? And it was order. And I like when we have nice and clean projects. And speaking of nice and clean, there is the last thing I wanted to show you guys. The last thing is a bug priority. Sounds again silly, simple, but trust me, I've done it in a couple of companies and every time it worked. Here we have an example from one company. What we do again? We need to talk first. So again, the same story as a QA lead. I prepare a proposal. What kind of priority do we have? What is the explanation of the priority? And examples. They are very crucial examples, right? And you have to have examples from each areas. And then again, I spoke with the team and the team was like, okay, we have to do this, and maybe you should add example here and here. They were better than me when it comes to examples, of course. And when we agreed on that, we had to introduce this to the whole company. So during a few meetings, I had to present this one, I had to speak up, and also through newsletter, through some emails. And the change doesn't take 5 minutes, it takes months. But at the end of the day, now when each team says the bug priority is high, everyone knows, okay, it's quite important, right? So we have to do something about as soon as possible. And it helped us also with some problems, like there was one team which couldn't properly estimate and say what kind of priority of the bug it is. So they always put blocker or high. And then they were like, oh my God, something is wrong on the production. We have to fix it now. And after some investigation, it turned out that usually those problems weren't quite important. They were like medium, maybe low, but nothing like we have to do it right now. So after teaching everyone, there was no more drama about, oh my God, we have to fix it now, because other people understood what the priority means and they also could follow the schema. And of course, you have to do it in Jira. You have to give some explanation in Jira as well. You can do whatever you want as long as people are happy with that. And trust me, showing this and encouraging people to have common understanding is always a good idea. So it was a few examples how I built some standards, but I also built the community. And as you see, almost in each examples I've showed you, I involved almost everyone. I involve teams, I involve some experts, I involve testers. So I was building awareness about the quality and about what's going on, right? That's the way you can build the community as well. It's not an easy topic, but trust me, it's doable, but it takes time. So the last piece of advice from my side, those topics usually are long. They take months, years. So every time you feel like, oh, I'm doing a lot of work, I really care and I feel I'm efficient, but there is no much result of my actions. Sometimes it is like that because it takes time. So what I do, usually then I think about some quick wins. What can I achieve very quickly? And then Meanwhile, I do some small projects, some small adjustments, I can see the result right away. Then I feel good, like, okay, I did that, everyone is happy, yay. So maybe it's something you can adopt in your life as well. And that's all actually what I wanted to tell you today. I prepared this earlier, so if you have any questions, I know you cannot do it right now, but you can always find me on LinkedIn, and you are more than welcome to reach out to me. You are more than welcome to ask me questions, or even if you want to have a chat, with a quick chat, because you need an advice, then I'm there for you guys. As I did that many times in the past, so it's nothing new. So please feel free to reach out to me if you want to get more information or you have some questions. And for today, I wanted to say thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be there, and I'm so sorry I cannot be there in person. And it's a shame I couldn't see your faces and have an eye contact as always. But I hope you find it useful, and I hope you will try to change something in your company. Okay, guys. So thank you very much. Have a lovely afternoon, and I hope see you around. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalia. We hope that you could hear these applause.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Natalia, for joining us despite your health problems. Great to see you. And of course, you cannot see the award that we have for you. Actually, our audience also doesn't see it because Pavel has already prepared our award for you to be shipped to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much for joining us once again. We hope to see you again on our events, hopefully these ones that we will organize on site. Guys, thank you so much. That was actually the I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, Natalia, but I'll have to remove you right now for just a second. For sound purposes, but thank you so much. Okay, so that's it for our speakers today. That's it for our event. Thank you so much, guys. I think it's really cool that you guys stay till the very, very end. Usually at our last presentation, some people choose to say goodbye to us, but right now I can see so many of you stayed. So thank you so much. It's really important for us that you guys actually build this community. You guys are here with us. We hope to bring you some more events. So please let me remind you that we still have 2 events this year, 10th of December and then December 12th. You can find all the details on our socials, so be sure to check out our community and also tech events online. What else? Oh, I had a few questions about those today's speakers and their presentations, so please be sure to find BEC Financial Technologies on their website and on their Facebook. I believe that on BEC Facebook, there should be video of each of the presentations. So guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you very, very soon. And have a good evening. Thanks. Bye-bye. Możemy rozłączyć po prostu, co?
Słucham?
Tak? Mogę to tak rozłączyć?
Tak.
Yeah.
Dobra, pożegnam się. Czekaj.
Właśnie myślałam.
Dobra, dzięki wielkie, Natalia. Dziękujemy. Trzymaj się. Na razie, hejka.
Na razie, papa.